Israel is watching every move coming out of Iran. According to 3 Israeli sources cited by Reuters, Tel Aviv is on high alert, believes the United States may soon enter the Shiite nation. The sources also revealed emergency security consultations in Israel over the unfolding situation in Iran. The meeting took place over the weekend when protests in Iran intensified. And behind the doors comes a critical phone call. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio over the phone and discussed the possibility of U.S. intervention in Iran. The revelation was made by one Israeli source who was present during the conversation. A U.S. official, too, has confirmed the phone call with Bibi, but did not say what topics they discussed. As Tehran boils, Netanyahu fires a direct warning. In an interview with The Economist published on Friday, Netanyahu said there would be horrible consequences for Iran if it were to attack Israel. And then came the signal for the world. Watch what is happening inside Iran. Israel has meanwhile not signaled a desire to intervene in Iran amid tensions between the 2 arch foes over Tehran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Israel and the U.S. accused Tehran of developing a nuclear weapon, but Iran said its nuclear program is only for civil purposes to meet domestic needs. Remember, Iran doesn't recognize Israel's existence since its birth in 1948. Ever since, the 2 enemies have been at war in the shadows. Then came 2025. The escalated tensions turned red hot. On June 13th, Israel bombed Iran's nuclear sites in a surprise attack, triggering a 12-day full-blown war. The U.S. joined Israel in its war against Iran and sent B-2 bombers to blow up Iran's nuclear sites after Tehran penetrated Israeli air defense systems to target critical installations in Tel Aviv during the course of the war. The development comes as U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened to intervene in Iran in recent days. Trump has warned Iranian rulers against using force against demonstrators. On Saturday, Trump said the U.S. stands ready to help. The big question now looms. Is Iran on the brink? Is Israel ready to move? And will America pull the trigger?
Washington is weighing its next move, and the stakes could not be higher. U.S. President Donald Trump has now been briefed on new military options for striking Iran, according to multiple American officials, as nationwide protests continue to shake the Islamic Republic. No final decision has been made, but sources told the New York Times that the president is seriously considering authorizing a strike, triggered by Tehran's escalating crackdown on demonstrators demanding economic relief and political change. Behind closed doors, Trump has been presented with a range of options, including precision strikes inside Tehran itself, some aimed not at traditional military targets, but at symbols of state power. Publicly, the message has already been sent. Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before, Trump wrote. The USA stands ready to help. The protests began late last month, sparked by a collapsing currency and soaring prices. They have since spread nationwide, evolving into the most serious challenge to Iran's leadership in years. Human rights groups report dozens killed. Iranian authorities deny excess force, but eyewitnesses and medical sources tell a far darker story. Exclusive reporting now suggests mass killings. The Iran International reported that security forces are using live ammunition against protesters across multiple cities. Footage smuggled out of Iran shows body bags lined up in industrial sites, hospital morgues overwhelmed, and grieving families searching for missing loved ones. Some estimates indicate at least 2,000 people may have been killed in just 48 hours, though verification remains difficult under a near-total internet blackout. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has vowed the government will not back down. Trump, meanwhile, is issuing his own warning.
How long do you think the Ayatollah will be in power after what we've seen play out on the ground there? When is the U.S. going to get involved now that reports of protesters being killed on the ground?
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely. Go ahead, please.
U.S. officials stress that any strike would likely target Iran's internal security apparatus, the forces accused of carrying out the crackdown. But there is deep concern inside the Pentagon. Military commanders warned that an attack could backfire, rallying Iranians around the regime, or triggering retaliation against U.S. troops and diplomats across the Middle East. Senior officers are asking for more time to reinforce defenses and prepare for escalation. The diplomatic drumbeat is already growing louder. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has spoken directly with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, discussing Iran's unrest, Gaza, and Syria. Rubio publicly voiced U.S. support for what he called the brave people of Iran. This comes just months after Trump ordered direct strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, and weeks after U.S. forces seized Venezuela's leader, a move the administration has pointed to as proof the president follows through on threats. Now, once again, the world is watching the same question take shape. Will the United States stop at words, or is another strike imminent? With protests raging, bodies mounting, and war plans on the table, Iran stands at a crossroads, and so does the world.